Hello everyone, welcome to Sam Science View channel. In today's video, we are going to listen to a science fact, the magic of scanning, the science behind the QR code. Before getting into the video, please watch this entire video, and if you have any queries related to science, you can comment about it and get it rectified. Now let's get into the video. While QR code, that is quick response code, holds significantly more data than barcode, they are also more prone to phishing attacks. Among the many changes brought about by the pandemic is the widespread use of QR codes, graphical representations of digital data that can be printed and later scanned by a smartphone or other device. QR codes have a wide range of uses that help people avoid contact with objects and close interactions with other people, including for sharing restaurant menus, email list sign-ups, car and home sales information, and checking in and out of medical and professional appointments. QR codes are a close cousin of the barcodes on product packaging that cashiers scan with infrared scanners to let the checkout computer know what products are being purchased. A QR code has two dimensions that can support different kinds of data. Numeric data, alphanumeric characters, and kanji are the three main data types. The components of the QR code include indicators and data code. QR code has many applications in our life, such as payment, product packaging, and advertising. Because of the designs enabled by the Reed-Solomon error correction method, the code stands out and invites viewers to scan it. In Asia, people rely highly on QR code. People will start their day by scanning a QR code to buy breakfast, then scanning another QR code to unlock a rental bicycle, and later paying for a taxi back home with a QR code. Moreover, China used a colored coded QR code system for restricting social activities during COVID-19 period. On the other hand, in the US, have you ever scanned a QR code on a product or advertisement page and been redirected to a website? QR codes can also link to people's profiles. Nowadays, QR codes are highly integrated into people's lives and will be more useful across the world in the future. The QR code was derived from the barcode. In 1960s, Japan entered a period of economic boom and supermarkets have incredible growth in sales. However, cashiers in supermarkets had to type in the price manually, which was inefficient. With the invention of the barcode and POS system in the 1970s, cashiers would immediately send prices to computers and calculate the total price of a purchase. However, the barcodes can only contain 20 numbers that include the basic information of the product. During the massive growth in sales, companies needed to keep track of logistic information the barcode could not contain. After discovering the limitation, a Japanese company named Denso Whale, which initially developed a barcode reader, decided to create a code that could contain more information, even including Japanese characters. In 1994, they formally announced the QR code, which means a quick response. In 2011, only 6.2% of mobile phone users in the US scanned QR codes. The limitation of QR code usage was due to the lack of a ubiquitous QR code scanner. However, with the development of 4G and widespread usage of smartphones with a built-in scanner, usage of QR codes has climbed significantly. Barcodes store information along one axis horizontally. QR codes store information in both vertical and horizontal axes, which allows them to hold significantly more data. That extra amount of data is what makes QR codes so versatile. While it is easy for people to read Arabic numericals, it is hard for a computer. Barcodes encode alphanumeric data as a series of black and white lines of various widths. At the store, barcodes record the set of numbers that specify a product's ID. Critically, data stored in barcodes is redundant. Even if part of the barcode is destroyed or obscured, it is still possible for a device to read the product ID. QR codes are designed to be scanned using a camera such as those found on your smartphone. QR code scanning is built into any camera apps for Android and iOS. QR codes are most often used to store web links, however, they can store arbitrary data such as text or images. When you scan a QR code, the QR reader in your phone's camera deciphers the code and the resulting information triggers an action on your phone. If the QR code holds a URL, your phone will present you with the URL. Tap it and your phone's default browser will open the web page. QR codes are composed of several parts, that is, data, position markers, quiet zone, and optional logos. The data in a QR code is a series of dots in a square grid. Each dot represents a 1 and each blank a 0 in binary code, and the patterns encode sets of numbers, letters, or both, including URLs. At its smallest, this grid is 21 rows by 21 columns, and at its largest, it is 177 rows by 177 columns. In most cases, QR codes use black squares on a white background, making the dots easy to distinguish. However, this is not a strict requirement, and QR codes can use any color or shape for the dots and background. Position markers or squares placed in a QR code's top left, top right, and bottom left corners. These markers let a smartphone camera or other device orient the QR code when scanning it. QR codes are surrounded by blank space, the quiet zone, to help the computer determine where the QR code begins and ends. QR codes can include an optional logo in the middle. Like barcodes, QR codes are designed with data redundancy. Even if as much as 30% of QR code is destroyed and difficult to read, the data can still be recovered. In fact, logos are not actually part of QR code. They cover up some of the QR code's data. However, due to QR code's redundancy, the data represented by these missing dots can be recovered by looking at the remaining visible dots. The barcode is a one-dimension code storing information like ID numbers to specify an item. However, a QR code has an x-axis and y-axis, which means the information it can store will be exponentially larger. There are 40 versions of QR code. The largest one can store 1850 uppercase characters. QR codes can also support data like numbers, bytes, and Japanese characters. Even though the QR code looks complex, it only includes two components, namely indicators and data code. So every QR code has a components called indicators, which are used to specify basic information. The three green squares at the corner are the position detection indicators. The smaller red square is called an alignment indicator. The green and red patterns indicate the size of the code and enable machines to recognize the direction to read the codes. These squares enable users to scan in any direction they want. Some QR codes have two timing indicators connecting the three green squares shown by the blue line in the diagram. These lines look like a zebra crossing and are used to inform the scanner of the location of rows and columns. The rectangles in pink are called version indicators and they reveal the version of the code to the machine. The yellow strips contain format information which enables the scanner to know what kind of information the code is enabled with, such as numbers or website URLs. These indicators help scanners immediately spot the correct orientation of the QR code and know the basic information contained in the code. Now let's see about the data code. The data part of QR code translates the information into zeros and ones, which are binary numbers. The data code contains a mode indicator at the beginning to display the type of information. There is then a list of numbers to specify the number of total characters. Then follows the more complex content. For example, according to this chart, if code needs to store the character B, its corresponding number is 11. Then we can translate 11 into binary numbers 1011. Based on the number of the character, several zeros may be added to the front. The next step is to connect all these numbers and separate them using 8 digits. If the code is too short, we will need to add some numbers at the back known as padding bytes. After combining these digits, it stores the information in QR code form, transforming the 0 to white and 1 to black makes the numbers into images. Nowadays, most phones already support scanning QR codes using their cameras. This has prompted the further development of QR codes and largely improved users' experience. QR codes can be used for payment. Some markets provide QR codes at checkouts. When people need to pay, they just need to turn on a bank app or an app that stores money to scan the code. Then the app will automatically pop out the window for the total and the user needs to type in the password to authorize the payment. Furthermore, QR codes are useful for checking someone's coronavirus status, which is the health code developed in China. First, it was linked with the payment app and messaging app that are widely used by the Chinese. Then it requires people to fill out their personal information, travel histories, and symptoms. After it gets uploaded, there will be a green code or yellow code or red code given to the people. During this COVID pandemic situation, people are required to show their code in real time, which has to be green when they need to enter a public place. These successfully prevent people who get infected with coronavirus, that is COVID-19, from being in a public place and spreading the disease. In addition, QR codes can also be used for product advertising and promotions. Companies may embed codes in posters or magazines to engage with customers. For example, a makeup company might create an augmented reality website that could allow users to try on their makeup through the phone. Then they can embed a QR code in a women's targeted magazine to attract more potential customers. This could make offline advertising more engaging for users. QR codes can be used to store different kinds of information. Therefore, companies are using it as a tool to link it with anything they want users to see. Since the design of QR code is not attractive, it can be awkward to design it to fit with backgrounds and inspire spontaneous interaction. Therefore, the code is somewhat difficult to incorporate organically into advertisements. Also, a QR code has a level of complexity and people may be overwhelmed by the crowded content. Researchers found that if the advertisement has a good perceived fit with QR code, the user's intention to actively interact with the ads will increase, thus encouraging more customers to scan the code. The spontaneous feature of the QR codes will also restrict the types of products that could use them for ads. Different products produce various levels of involvement. Low involvement products or items that people spend less time considering buying, such as chewing gum. When encountering ads with QR code of a low involvement product, people are less likely to scan the code because they consider it as redundant and cannot provide enriched information. Its lack of immediate readability will hassle some customers. However, for high involvement products like insurance, customers will have a positive attitude toward the QR code because it provides more information. Also, since it involves spontaneous interaction, customers might have a positive attitude of the decision making process of purchasing products. When looking for insurance, people will be more likely to scan the code on the ads to gather more information about the policy of the insurance they want to buy. Not all kinds of ads are suited for embedding QR codes in them, and it requires the marketers' careful consideration. QR codes are not inheritably dangerous, they are simply a way to store data. However, just as it can be hazardous to click links in emails, visiting URLs stored in QR codes can also be risky in several ways. QR codes URL can take you to a phishing website that tries to trick you into entering your username or password for another website. The URL could take you to a legitimate website and trick that website into doing something harmful, such as giving an attacker access to your account. While such an attack requires a flaw in the website you are visiting, such vulnerabilities are common on the internet. The URL can take you to a malicious website that tricks another website you are logged into on the same device to take an unauthorized action. A malicious URL could open an application on your device and cause it to take some action. Maybe you have seen this behavior when you clicked a Zoom link and the Zoom application opened and automatically joined a meeting. While such behavior is ordinarily benign, an attacker could use this to trick some apps into revealing your data. It is critical that when you open a link in QR code, you ensure that the URL is safe and comes from a trusted source. Just because the QR code has a logo you recognize doesn't mean you should click on the URL it contains. There is also a slight chance that the app used to scan QR code could contain a vulnerability that allows malicious QR codes to take over your device. This attack would succeed by just scanning the QR code even if you don't click the link stored in it. To avoid this threat, you should use trusted apps provided by the device manufacturers to scan QR codes and avoid downloading custom QR code apps. So, in conclusion, this QR code, that is quick response code, is highly involved in people's lives and its efficiency makes using it a smooth process. By developing a unique style for QR codes, marketers can provide a code while also making the ads more appealing and effective. Nowadays, there is a great usage difference in QR codes between US and Asia. For payment, users only need to bring up their phones to pay, decreasing the chance of lost credit cards. Furthermore, since QR codes are efficient and low cost, companies can develop as many as they want. These provide benefits for both people and companies, which could lead to an increase in the usage of QR codes. So, this is all about the QR code, that is quick response code, which is used in scanning, which is a magical term, and we have seen about the science behind it. So, If you have any science related queries, you can ask and get it rectified through this channel. We'll meet in the next video with the next Science Fact Treasury series. Until then, it's goodbye from Sam. Take care.